We are something else.
Your boys are back. It is again. Yeah, let the crowd ring in. Again, it's another episode of We Are Something Else presents From the Cheap Seats with your boys CB. And I'm joined as always by my brother from the West Coast, Mr. Cali Cool himself, my brother E Rich. And he's got actually the classic lemon pepper is trash t-shirt. Yeah, though I don't think any of the original run is left of those. I think those all got snapped up. But how you doing, bro? You're muted.
Let's call it production's fault. Yeah, all the shirts are gone. But yes, man, I appreciate it. And again, it's great to see you, bro. And I'm ready to have a good segment today. Just couple things that we definitely want to talk about.
Yeah. And we might as well just jump right into it. So as y'all know, we start off with the pregame and a couple of topics that we definitely want to cover. Shout out to the ladies, man. Caitlin Clark, one of the newest Nike athletes. And she's getting a signature shoe. They announced next year it'll be coming in 2026. But they also, with the announcement, released her logo. So we got the CC logo. In my opinion, we got like some infinity stuff going on there a little bit. But what were your thoughts on the announcement and everything? I know that you definitely wanted to make sure that we touched on this one.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. She's the figure of the WNBA as well as Asia and some other ones. It's not a fluke. I mean, she has been hurt this year, but you look at the numbers that she's been able to bring in, and we knew this was only a matter of time that she was going to get her signature logo. Now, interesting to see if she still rocks Kobe's, or is she going to then maybe step into, her own PE of a Kobe and have her signature on there, which I see that happening, kind of being a thing, which would be dope because you can still have the PE kind of like Kobe's with the Caitlin Clark logo on there somewhere. I'm sure Vanessa would rock with that. And you got, multiple superstars. Let's call them what they are, and that will probably want to be a part of that brand, just strictly off of that. So, but it's something that we had to talk about, and just with the WNBA. I mean, I think they're getting ready to finish up the regular season. Playoffs are around the corner. I don't know if I think her team is out of the playoff picture this year just because of all the injuries and all the good stuff. Just to not kind of creep into the other ones, Asia and the Vegas, I think they won like 12 straight or something like that since the All-Star break. So they're going at it. But all in all, she has brought what she's needed to the table. This makes sense that she would have her own logo. I initially saw it and I was like, they tried their best to stay away from Gucci and Chanel, but they didn't. You know what I mean? I was in because you clearly know like what was behind it. It would be interesting to see what the other the top three options were, and they went with this one. But ultimately, listen, man, we know haters. When you get your own signature shoe or just a deal with Nike or any shoe company, I mean it's a big deal, and ultimately, hopefully, it garnishes her to inspire more young ladies to play the game and do it the right way because she's a competitor. I like the fact that she's a competitor for sure.
She doesn't back down, and it is funny, bro. Like I do think that if the logo just started spinning, it would look like one of those like 80s 70s like news channels, you know what I mean, like breaking news, CCTV, something like that. No, but for real though, dude, for real, like she's a Nike signature athlete. She's getting her shoe, and if we're gonna be honest, the joint is going to do numbers. Like Nike does a really good job of getting especially the signature sneakers in the hands of the schools, you know what I mean. And she he plays in Kobe's now. So we have to imagine we've criticized on the other We Are Something Else podcast, especially Soul Tales. We've criticized Nike actually for not being able to come up with anything new that isn't basically a Kobe remake. So it'll be interesting to see where they go because she's obviously playing in Kobe's now. And the PEs, as we already know, the ones that they have released, those joints have been tough to get. So she's doing her thing for real, for real.
Facts.
Another joint that I wanted to touch on before we get into the main part of the show, which will be us actually talking about fall sports and what we got to look forward to because the calendar is stacked. But this is crazy, man. It was a staged wrestling event. Rampage Jackson's son was, taking part of this. And he ends up like power bombing this guy, knocks him clean out, and then starts like wailing on him. And we're not talking an MMA event, which if you're familiar with Rampage Jackson at all, his dad, he famously power bombed a dude and knocked him out when he was in Pride. That joint, you can find the YouTube video. It's got millions of views. Like this is crazy, man. But his son does this, and it's in a, just like a WWE, like ECW, like AEW. And so there's been a lot of backlash because the dude that he was wrestling with got seriously injured. And to the point where Rampage himself has actually been receiving death threats. You know what I mean? So did you take a look at this? What were your thoughts when you heard it?
Well, I definitely thought it was crazy because initially I was like, well, damn, that's a crazy write-up to have him go berserk like that. And I'm thinking, are they really trying to create the storyline of kind of Rampage Jr. or whatever, but as more of the story came out, apparently the guy hit him backstage and he was like, I'm not a part of this. So he was fuming. And I guess they even had video where he was either texting somebody or calling. I'm not sure if it was his pops or somebody. And when he just left Earth and went in there and went to town. Now, it's unexcusable in that sense. And then like, I can't remember boy's name. He fought in UFC. He tried to come to his defense, but I think his brain damage is because it was gibberish what he was talking about. So you have that element of when it's off camera or off scene or in the back, compared to when it's live and it's supposed to be the entertainment part of the house, that you can tell was just not that. But also the effort that it took to get him off of the guy while he was going was not to the level where I've seen. So that's why I think a little bit part of it was like, damn, well, how much of this is scripted and it's not? Because, well, you can tackle that dude. There's like 3 people in there, and we've seen whether it's WWE, WCW, where a fan tried to get in the ring and got mobbed, and the ref, who's probably like $160 soaking wet, old as hell, but he was giving one of the fans like the business. He was kicking them and stuff. It looked like, you know what I'm saying? It looked like an initiation. DP for all you guys don't know what that is out here. So that was like in that moment, I was like, but wait, why the dude was just kind of like randomly just, nah, okay, it's cool. Like, nah, you got to go tackle that man and you know what I'm saying? And like get him off of that scenario. So I don't know that it was the best on both parties, right? On both sides. Yes, it shouldn't have happened, but also there should have been a little bit more content on what and why there wasn't a swift reaction with that, because there are cameras now everywhere. Somebody's filming him. He's filming. The actual event is filming. So I think that's a thin line in between where you got to cross. What is real, what's fake, and then what can go on and what can't go on.
Right. I mean, dude, before when I initially just saw the video, I thought this was a like MMA event. Like I did not realize that this was, like this was a professional wrestling event. Like, so, I mean, I hope, you know, my one man is, you know, he's going to be able to recover from the injuries that he sustained. And I mean, here at the end of the day, bro, like death threats and all that stuff, that's not the way. That's not the way to be going. You know, we still need to be better from that standpoint. Plus, they're attacking this man's dad. You know, so, you know, we got to get past that. But before we get into the main part of the show, we're actually gonna break some ground. We're gonna cut the ribbon for the first time. We're gonna have our first guest. Because I think that this next topic, for those of us that have played some form of football into our adult years, when maybe their hamstrings are only made of scar tissue at this point, you know, I wanted to bring in somebody who not necessarily this specifically, but he could provide some of his own context and experience to this story. But we're gonna bring in our brother Kaleo, man.
Hey, wow. Looks different from this side of town. Fellas, what's up?
Bro, how does it feel to be a guest for a change?
Look, I'm trying to tell you, I haven't been seen on camera in some time. You know, the pod is taking a break, but you guys are well off doing your jobs, doing a good job at that too. Graphics look amazing. I need to hire this guy. But look, this right here is crazy because up until the age of 40, I was still playing football for the most part. Flag though. I'm not playing tackle. I am not playing tackle. It is absolutely not. And my bro can attest.
Y'all got to when is the last time? Because that, for us growing up, these big, we used to get like full 11 on 11 with subs, like backyard games, full line. Like, we got videos on YouTube, bro. We're like full, like it's, but we were young, you know, the joints were lubricated up. You know what I mean?
Shit.
You know, like when's actually the last time? Because I'm gonna say we were probably like, I don't know, 22, 23 is probably the last time we played like a really serious like tackle backyard game. Like
we used to put together these turkey bowls too, and it was always a thing of people wanting to play tackle. I'm like, we are grown men out here and jobs tomorrow.
Yeah, gotta go to work.
Like, who wants to play? Nah, I'm not.
But y'all have seen the highlights and the clips from these like 37U, 40U. You know, it's, and the thing is like I have some really good homies that were basically doing this around here. But the thing is I didn't realize it was a bigger thing like this, man. You know what I mean? Like
they're not even getting paid for this though, right? Like they have to actually pay to play in the league. I believe this is just like the women's tackle league. Like
this is like me going and playing softball on Wednesday nights, bro. I pay for that. Yeah. You know what? They're paying to wake up. I'm not gonna say it.
Every time I see this picture or just like this, it's you know, the longest yard. It's you know, the new one, Fat Tony on the floor. You know, can of corn, and I'm back at it. You know, like the guy can't even fit his jersey because he can't pull the shirt jersey over his belly. You know what I'm saying? Like, but to me and Brodo, even though we were flag, it was flag contact, and some of the contact that you see in this sport, we were doing without pads in our league.
I needed the full blocking, bro. I need it because, like,
but you get these guys in contact flag who used to pad up, and you don't know how to pull back your punches, just like Rampage's son. Like you only know one gear, and you can't pull back your punches now. As you get older, those punches get a little softer. Like these guys, right? Like there is no need to be playing tackle football at the age beyond a professional athlete being paid for it, beyond the age of 30, whatever you're getting paid to do. But just to go out there on a regular Sunday or Saturday.
For the love of the game, bro. For the love of the game.
Wife and your kids out there. And you're pulling that wagon, that family wagon of snacks, and maybe one of your kids in there and bubbles and all that to go play tackle. Man, please. Now, I still would love to play flag. There is some competitiveness in that, but I'm good on tackle.
I mean, if any of the homies that are in the chat, like, if y'all think that this is a reasonable thing for any of us to be doing at this stage, like, please chime in, man, because this is silly. It's silly. But bro, thank you. You are officially the first guest.
Oh wow, look at that. Oh, look. It's amazing.
You know, first guest that we are something else presents from the cheap seats. You know, thank you for taking the time, brother. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you. How the hell I get out of here? Oh, there we go. Oh no, wait a minute. Get rid of E. Hold on, wait, let's bring E back. I'm out of practice. It's been a minute, right? Let me see if hold on.
It just only shows you how he truly feels about me, bro. Like this has been going on now for some time, right?
No, I'm saying
skip me from like questioning when we are on the regular pod. Just I don't even worry. I don't even have shoes to show either. You know what I'm saying? Just now I just get thrown off, bro.
I think at this point we might be able to make a blooper reel of how many number of times this has happened.
I agree. We're definitely there.
But yes, it is under the bright lights time. And what we are going to be talking about this week is fall sports, bro. Like, this is such a great time. You know, I'm a huge Liverpool fan. You know what I mean? Like, EPL, full swing. Professional soccer abroad and everywhere in full swing. We've got at this point, roster cut downs in the NFL are done. We've got a week to go before real games are going to be happening. You know, we got a bunch of fantasy football and stuff to do. We got playoff baseball coming up. In I want to say a few weeks. You know, it's over a month and everything like that. But NBA will be starting back up before we know it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
How are you feeling? And what are some of, like, you know, some of the games, some of the stuff that you're looking forward to just about this time of year when we're talking about sports, you know?
It was funny because Saturday was the first NCAA games, right? College football kicked off, and in true fashion, like the first two like series were like turnovers. And I was like, oh yeah, this is why, you know, certain people don't watch this crap. But in the same sense, you know, you're looking at it as we don't see their preseason games, you know, we don't see them go through all their stuff, but it's just the ramp up of everything. Like you said, you and I will be back and forth, you know what I mean, when Liverpool is playing. The crew is always like, you know, what fight is on tonight, you know, who fights tonight. UFC, which, you know, probably could have made my segment was talking about how boxing has just, you know, officially just gone off the register with the whole Jake Paul and Javante you know, thing. Yep. But like you said, I think all in all, fall sports, right? It's just the initial, you know, for anybody who's into sports, you have your pick, right? You have your pick of the litter, whatever you want to get to, whatever you want to watch. Excited for it. And also, and really, to be honest with you, I just watched a clip of U.S. Open, and this girl, she beat this other lady that was like ranked number 25, and she had a whole issue with her beating her, and so that she has no education and no class. And I'm just thinking, like, damn, bro, like it really is competitive when the people that just continuously lose, they just go to that level of it. I think ultimately my take is I think we're going to get a whole lot of crash outs this year. I don't know why it seems that way. It feels like it is going to probably be something that will just really probably can have a top 5 crash outs at the end of this year. Just this small window that we could probably have from now until the end of the year that we're probably going to see. But other than that, man, listen, I'm all for it. I think we're going to probably get that aha moment of something in sports this year that out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Whether I don't know if it's baseball, don't know if it's football, but it just kind of has that feeling, right? Like the level of competition and the level of these superstars kind of getting to a certain part. It seems like it's getting back to the competitive nature and not so much the ownerships, the teams. It's really just the competitive nature of sports is like really, it feels like it's coming back. What do you think?
Yeah. And I think that some of the storylines that we have been tracking throughout the summer are starting to get like wrapped up. There's certain timelines that are coinciding here. The NFL regular season is about to start. So guess what? Trey Hendrickson and Terry, they got their deals. Or, Trey got the 1-year deal, but he got a pay raise commensurate for how he should be getting paid based off of his status within the league and how good he is of a defensive player and what he means to that team. And Terry got the deal that he deserves, honestly, in my opinion, because I don't give a fuck. Yeah, reward the dude for having to be in the asylum. You know what I mean? Like, bro, first of all, I'll say,
crazy.
I know it's not my money. I know that this is not my money. But the team has it.
Yeah.
Pay the man. You know what I mean? So these things are starting to get wrapped up. The transfer deadline in the English Premier League and stuff is coming up. Like, so some of these storylines that we've been tracking, like, they're going to have some kind of resolution, whether something happens or something doesn't. And obviously, we've seen some news, off-season news with the NBA. Like, we know that there's stuff going on there. We know that playoff baseball is about to be underway. Like, we know that as we creep into October and everything, all this stuff matters more. You know what I mean? And at least some of us have maybe a team that they will be able to see in the playoffs. Because the Orioles and the Nationals, bro, they've been trash this year. But with that said, this show will go out before, but I am going to the Nationals game this Friday. And this is one of these things that, like, I'm super excited about. They have this concert series going on. So after the game, Ja Rule and Ashanti playing a concert. And all I was saying in one of because I'm going with some members of my softball team, I'm willing to risk it for Ashanti. You know what I mean? Like, it's honestly in my best interest to get my ass whooped by Nelly. So,
I mean, not gonna knock it. She is a lot thicker since the baby. You know what I mean? So, hey, sometimes you got to risk it to get the biscuit. Listen, it's funny you should to mention that because I was gonna say, Micah didn't get his contract. There was somebody that was just on this show, or our first guest, who's a fan of that team, that thinks that he'll get the contract or somewhat of a contract done. And we had an extensive conversation about that, how that looks or what that looks like. But I'm hoping that this year, in all sports, whether it's the transfer, like you said, the whether it's money, we hoping no major injuries, which injuries are a part of sports, but you just have that. You have that level of you want everything to be at the highest level. You want to see everybody compete with no nothing. The Dodgers was kind of reeling for a minute. They kind of I couldn't stomach the fact that they had lost to the Giants, and then they were just getting their ass kicked by the Padres, which I cannot just go for. But outside of that, you know what I mean? Like you said, it's and it's weird because it's like playoff time for like baseball, but then like start of the year. So it's like intensity on one side. It's the starting up on another side. But
Mm-hmm.
all in all, listen, I think we've been blessed to have good sports. Good teams that are doing it the right way, but also good stories, like you said, people that are really out here doing good things with the squads that they have.
And this is something that dropped earlier today. So I might be giving a little bit away in terms of timing and, whatever. But Rashee Rice is going to miss 6 games. We talk about things wrapping up, things getting a resolution. His whole deal has been going on for like basically 2 years, where he was involved in this like kind of street racing deal that involved like a big crash. And so, there was finally somewhat of a resolution in the court case. So then the NFL was like, okay, well now, they're going to at some point hand down their punishment. And we heard today it's going to be 6 games. So Rashee Rice is going to miss the first 6 games. And this isn't football news, but the tight end for that team is apparently engaged. And that was something that I needed a push notification on for my phone from a sports app. So I don't know why Bleacher Report needed to let me know of Travis and Taylor Swift's engagement. But like, do you think that everything that's going on around like Kansas City right now, because obviously they're a rival for your squad, like, do you think this is an opportunity for the other teams in that division and in the AFC, or do you think they're not going to miss a beat with Rashee, in my opinion, who is their most like fun, dangerous weapon in the receiver core? Like, do you think this is going to have a significant impact? Like, do you think the first 6 games, if he's he's going to be gone, is that an opportunity for the other squads?
Yes and no, but not based upon him per se. Kansas City's line did not offensive line didn't get any better. So you also have to look at what we talked about, like the schedule. Who are they playing? The defense that's going up against that offensive line. Everybody saw what the Eagles did to Mahomes with no blitzing whatsoever, right? Your front 4 can get there. That's a problem. So yes, if you lose it on that side as far as a receiver, but you got a healthy Pacheco, you still have what's my man? I want to say Hunt.
Kareem Hunt.
So you still have that. I think though the Chargers always are good until they're not, until injuries, right? Injuries always cap their season. If they stay healthy, they're always right there. Denver actually got better, which I can't even stomach the fact that I just said that on here. But they did. And you talking about the best corner on that team. So again, but a team that got better up front defense. So yeah, I think in that sense, the other teams outside of mine, I can be honest. I'm not one of those ones. We're not going to give them a run for their money, maybe at home, but the other 2 teams for sure have the ability to beat them. I'm not sure what their schedule looks like for the first 6 games, but I do think we see a little bit more down to earth Kansas City than we did the years that they were kind of just walking through. And again, last year, what was it? 7 games where they won by no more than like 3 points.
Something like that.
I mean, you look at that and you say, and they were fully loaded, in the sense of like having everybody on the squad. So, yeah, I don't know. Not interested in that. Just to kind of dive into that, Shiloh got cut. Shador number 3 on the QB chart for Cleveland.
Yep.
So again, we all talked about how the first couple of games, listen, everybody listened to CB when he said it. So listen, who you see start the first couple of weeks, it's not going to be the same people that you see probably at the end. There's very few people that actually make it the full year without injury or without you having to replace somebody on your fantasy lineup. And again, drafting like you said, the best player that's available, because you also know that, but also like you said, knowing the matchups. It's interesting because I have a question for you, which hopefully this leads into, our fantasy football spot.
Yeah.
You have a beat up quarterback in the Rams.
Mhm.
But you have a still top 5 receiver in Adams, right?
Mhm.
But you also have, so you lost my man
Cup.
Cup, but you have Puka there,
Yeah.
right? In the sense of your wide receiver, what round and where do you see somebody should be able to place like a Puka? Like, is he
Mhm.
is he definitely a second tier receiver? And should it be an early rounder, knowing that if Adams comes off the board, you realize that he's going to get probably the same amount of targets, if not more, than Adams, in a passing offense at that.
Right. I think the offensive landscape is super important here because there's a difference between being the number 1 and number 2 option on a team that doesn't really throw the ball that much compared to being maybe even the third option on a team that does throw the ball a lot. So, and in some cases, it's better to be the second option in a high volume passing offense than the number 1 option in, say, a run first offense. So, realistically, there is a chance because I do believe that both Puka and Devontae deserve to be drafted, rather high, depending on your league scoring system and everything like that. Like Puka's probably no worse than a second round pick. Like it is what it is. The dude's a baller. And McVay schemes it up for this guy. Like that's one of the things that you want to focus on with these guys that go early. Does the offense prioritize them and make it a point to get them the ball in tons of different scenarios? Puka is that guy. Devontae is still a dog. Like we're talking about a guy that into his 30s, which is ancient in professional football terms. And this guy is still literally like pun intended, running around like these defenders. You know what I mean? Still one of the craftiest route runners in the league, can still create separation. And so in my opinion, both of these dudes are probably going to get drafted in most leagues between rounds probably 2 and 5. Like I think Devontae's still probably going to end up going that high for a lot of teams. It is something to keep in mind, though, because that offense will be different if it's Stafford compared to if it's my man Garoppolo, who, if y'all watch the Netflix receiver joint,
Gotta get the hell out of here.
Garoppolo and Devontae, they, I'm not saying there was beef, but Devontae was blown. You know what I mean? Like they have that history. But Devontae, honestly, like in public, has only ever come out in support of Jimmy G. But like that's a real thing. You know what I mean? Like last year, we saw this in Green Bay. Jordan Love got hurt. Malik Willis comes in. It's a different offense that they're running. It's not the same. So do I believe that Stafford, if he can play, if he can gut it out, he's going to? We've seen him do that. Like he is that kind of guy. And apparently this back injury is something he's been dealing with for like multiple years at this point. So, like right now is the time to be giving him some rest, to not let him worry about getting smacked in these preseason games. You know what I mean? Like he's been in the league over 15 years. Like he doesn't need preseason really to get ready. You know what I mean? It will be slow. You can expect someone who's not getting the prep time to need a little bit of a ramp up, obviously, but he's not a rookie. You know what I mean? He's not a young player that needs to grasp the playbook. Like he knows what McVay is going to be calling. You know what I mean? So I think it's important to keep in mind that while these guys are dudes that you want to be able to count on and theoretically should be able to count on, that if Stafford isn't good to go and it is Jimmy G, you're going to have to mute like the expectations. And in my opinion, not because of any past, relationship or whatever, but Devontae being number 2 in the pecking order, because let's be honest, at this stage, Puka is the number 1 guy in that offense. Yes, they're going to scheme stuff up for Devontae, but if you're dropping from Stafford to Garoppolo to Jimmy G, in all likelihood, if there's going to be a hit, it's most likely going to be on the number 2 option, not the number 1 guy as much. You know what I mean? So I'm a huge Puka fan. I got Puka shares, in Dynasty. He's a guy that I want to target in my redraft leagues and everything like that, because he's a dog. And I want guys that are getting schemed up. Like that's what it is. You think about Debo a few years ago when he was healthy and he was getting touches at running back, wide receiver. He was returning kicks. You know what I mean? Like you want guys that are going to be able to score you a lot of points. That's how you win the game. You know what I mean? It's that simple. But finding the guys that can actually do that for you on a consistent basis, those are going to be the guys that are getting schemed up.
That makes sense. And like I said, just dropping that understanding, you know what I mean, for the more complex, draft, right? Because again, all of that plays a part. I think you have to look at the health of your quarterback, who's the backup, and that whole sense of that. Here's a good question I have for you. Hopefully this is throw us off, and I know we on time. Is there a player, and we'll call it CB's take right now, right? Is there a player to stay away from that looks good on everybody's, and I won't say everybody's, but, they have the, here's your top receivers, your top running backs, but there's always that one where you just like, you have to stay away from, right? And it's something that, outside of what we learned, we did talk about, Christian McCaffrey and his hamstrings, whether or not they're attached or his Achilles or whatever. But I would ask, is there a player right now, just kind of, where it stands, that you would just tell even just the most beginner fantasy person, do not draft this guy? And there's no hate. It's just a straight up, like, it's just the hype of this is not going to probably pan out.
That's a great question. And I will preface this by, it's always based off of like their draft position. It's not saying that like I would never draft this person or whatever. It's just saying that at least right now where they're going might be a little rich for me. And it's not fun for me to give y'all a name for someone that like I would say, avoid in the 4th round or something. So let's talk about a spicier take. Justin Jefferson is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL. But he's missed a lot of time this offseason with the hamstring injury, which in general, you feel any kind of tweak with one of these superstars like early in the offseason, just rest him, man, because this isn't the stuff that matters, right? So they did activate him. You know what I mean? Like he's apparently like getting back into practice and all that. But we're talking about a guy that is being drafted as early as like, pick 2 or 3, depending on, your format and who's drafting. Like some people are taking him that high. And I'll be honest, earlier in the offseason, when I'm doing some of these best ball drafts and, before he obviously had this hamstring injury, I was taking him really early, like everybody else, because you want to have shares of a dude that's talented as he is. There's very few receivers in the NFL that can make a claim to being the best, and he's one of them. But the thing is he's coming into the season off of an injury. That's typically not fun. And we don't know what their quarterback situation really is. Like this dude, JJ, hasn't played an NFL game yet. You know what I mean? So there's the chance that he's the second coming of Kirk Cousins and Minnesota's fine. You know what I mean? The passing game is fine. There's also the opportunity that this dude stinks. You know what I mean? Like we don't know. He played like how many snaps in last year's preseason before he got hurt. You know what I mean? So he hasn't gotten any live NFL action. And we know that the regular season games are ramped up compared to any preseason or any dual scrimmage that you're going to do. You know what I mean? So it's not to say that I'm avoiding Justin Jefferson. I'm not. I will draft him, but just not as high as, say, a top 4 pick typically. I think that for most leagues, you're going to be considering some of the other guys, some of the running backs. You've got Jamar, you've got CD. In terms of the wide receivers, like there are some other guys there that I think are safer given consistent situations and things like that. So trust me, I hope to God I have a lot of Justin Jefferson on all my fantasy teams. You know what I mean? It's just that if you have an early pick in your draft, just think about whether those risks are worth it for you, because if something happens, if he re-aggravates this hamstring injury, if JJ McCarthy is doo-doo, it's not going to be fun you using the 3rd overall pick on something that's not going to be returning, that value. You know what I mean? It's already tough.
Got you. Okay, last one, and we'll make it 30 seconds because I know we got to go to the last, which I would definitely want to have time for. A player like Rice, right? Or even a Mixon.
Yep.
Injured or whatever, but you got it to the point where you're saying, do you spend a position on your fantasy for a person that you know is either coming back healthy in a week 6, where you probably will have 1 or 2 injured players by that time already? Where do you place that in 30 seconds or left? Do you put stake in IR player or somebody like a suspension that's coming back that's going to be healthy and fully ramped up for week 7, which again is probably not a bad time to fresh legs, the whole 9. Do you buy stake in buying a IR or a suspended player on your draft?
It depends on your construction. So for a guy like Rasheed, if I started hot with wide receivers, so I have starters, I've got maybe another 1 or 2 ready for the bench. Being able to draft a guy like Rasheed is a cheat code, because I already have a setup, and then I have the opportunity to then get maybe an upgrade later in the season. Same thing as far as running backs go. I would use the same outlook on a guy like Mixon if I thought that it made sense. I will say that Mixon's situation is different because he's hurt. So I'm not as interested in reserving a spot. If you have an IR spot, go, for sure. You don't necessarily need to worry about it, but don't reach for an injured player for sure. Definitely do not do that. Don't reach for a suspended player. You know what I mean? Let them fall to you, and let your team construction that you have dictate whether it makes sense.
Cool. All right, they got charging after that.
So bang, we got the fantasy in. And yes, we try to keep the show kind of relative to the time that we're running on now. But we got extra time. And I'll start off. Our man here in DC, John Wall, retired, and it's one of those things where, as a Wizards fan, as someone who was a Washington Bullets fan, growing up, like, similar to a lot of the other sports teams in the area, not a whole lot of success over my lifetime. And those years where John and Brad were carrying the squad to the playoffs, and we had that year with Paul Pierce, like, that stuff was fun, man. And John was actually an example of the team getting an early pick and that shit being right. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many bad 1st round picks that I've had to live through with this team, man. And so for them to not fuck up the 1st overall pick, and like, it's sad that he was kind of robbed because of the injuries that he suffered. But I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that they need to put like a John Wall statue up or anything, but there needs to be like a big appreciation for what this guy has done. I mean, I don't think it should necessarily be out of the question to retire the number for the Wizards personally. So shout out to John Wall. Thank you for everything that he did for DC, for the city, to make it fun, man, to be a Wizards fan, bro. Because in my nearly 40 years of life, there have not been very many seasons where it's fun, and John brought most of them in my lifetime at this point. So shout out to him, bro. So what do you got for us?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't need the graphics because I forgot. But no. Outside of this, because I think what I said was that this is the highlight. This needs to be the highlight. Straight out of Kentucky, off of, I believe they won the national championship that year.
I think they got bounced early, but it was one of those. That team was crazy. That team was insane.
You had DeMarcus. Yeah, we won't go over it. Everybody was on it, but the energy that he brought from college to the NBA, and you saw it from the very first game at the Wizards, like that was contagious. I think he was kind of like the pillar of getting the city back to, going back to the games, because like you said, there had been a lull there as far as nothing really happening. No, even if the team didn't record-wise didn't show it, he brought that level of entertainment back to where people wanted to go watch the games, and then you get Bill. So then you kind of build off of that, right? And they had that. And again, I do think that the NBA threw him away. I will say that. I think because, let's just call it what it was. He didn't really have a jump shot. He started to develop the jump shot once he got older, but at that point, he should have already had that in his repertoire. But you see that he was still able to get to the cup. His handles are still A1. There's no reason why that is. But I also feel like that type of guard is no longer a part of the NBA. I think you do put him in a conversation of the style of guard that he was at the time. Not necessarily can shoot it from the outside, but as far as getting the teammates involved, assists, but also you had to guard that man. And you almost had to guard him with two people. You know what I mean? Because one-on-one, he break anybody down and get to the cup. So, but definitely, shout out to him. And I think there were some other retired ones that officially retired this year as well. That we could have shouted out, but for the region for sure. And you got to show love where it's due. So for sure, appreciate what he did for the city, the game, and of course, you know what I mean. Hopefully, there are some students of John Wall and watch his highlights. Watch his highlights. Learn them handles for sure. But yeah, that's all I got about that one, bro.
Yeah, man. Shout out to John. We had to highlight that one. And look at some of the left hand dunk highlights. Very few people like attacking the rim as angrily with the left as John Wall was doing. So, but thank you again to all the homies that support us every week, chiming in, being active in the chat. Shout out to the sponsors, the We Are Something Else sponsors. The family is great. D Cup Customs, DC Shy Pie, Gen X TV, the homies, man. We got some fun stuff coming up. Definitely some things under the We Are Something Else banner that are worth really celebrating with the fam. So we appreciate all of you. This has been another episode of We Are Something Else presents from the cheap seats, and your boy CB and E Rich. We'll be back again soon, bros. We love y'all. Peace.